All right, so let's talk about sleep. Or, well, lack of it, really. I mean, we've all been there, right? Just staring at the ceiling at like 2 in the morning, wondering why sleep just seems impossible. And you've brought in some really interesting research on beating insomnia. So I'm ready to like uncover those little golden nuggets, the ones that'll finally get me a good night's sleep.
Absolutely. And I think you'll find some really practical stuff here. You know how we always hear about catching up on sleep on the weekends? Turns out that might actually backfire.
Wait, really? I thought sleeping in was like our body's way of making up for lost sleep.
Yeah, it seems to make sense. But this research really emphasizes consistency. It's crucial for our sleep-wake cycle, our circadian rhythm. Think of it like a clock. It needs regular resetting. Sleeping in on the weekends throws that whole clock off balance.
So like hitting that snooze button, as tempting as it is, could be doing more harm than good.
Exactly. What this research really stresses is waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends. It's all about training our bodies to crave a regular sleep schedule.
Okay, wow. Okay, I'm already rethinking my weekends, But what about that afternoon coffee? I'm all about that caffeine boost. But is it like secretly sabotaging my sleep?
You've hit on another key point. This document really dives deep into those sneaky sleep disruptors, the ones we often don't even think about. And yeah, caffeine is a big one. We don't realize how long the effects actually last.
It can be up to 24 hours, right? So like my evening coffee could be messing with my sleep later on.
Precisely. And it's not even just about avoiding coffee right before bed. Even that afternoon pick-me-up can affect your sleep later that night.
Wow, interesting. Are there other common culprits we should watch out for?
Oh, absolutely. This research also calls out alcohol. It might feel like it helps you fall asleep at first, but it actually messes with your sleep later in the night. You get less restful sleep overall.
So that drowsiness is like a trick. Alcohol is kind of lying to us, making us think it's helping.
Exactly. And then there's nicotine, and even some medications that can interfere with sleep. This is where it's so important to talk to your doctor, especially if you're having trouble sleeping. They can help you figure out the timing of your meds.
It's all about being proactive, right? Taking charge of the things that could be affecting our sleep, even if we don't realize it.
Exactly. And while we're talking about daytime habits and sleep, this research also goes into naps. Friend or foe? What do you think?
Ooh, that's a good one. I love a good afternoon nap, especially when I'm sleep deprived. And I'm curious what the research says.
Yeah, it can be tempting to just crash when you're tired. But this document suggests being strategic with napping, especially if we're trying to sleep better overall.
So no more falling asleep on the couch accidentally.
Not necessarily. Naps can be good if they're done right. It's about understanding how they affect our sleep schedule and making sure they're not messing with our nighttime sleep.
So like timing and how long we nap for are important?
Yes. And this research really emphasizes keeping a regular sleep schedule. Even with naps, it's about associating sleep with the same cues, like darkness, a regular bedtime, whether it's a nap or a full night's sleep.
So we got to be smart about those naps, make sure they're not messing with our sleep later on. It's all about balance, right? This research also mentions exercise, which is supposed to be good for sleep, but how exactly does that work?
Yeah, you're right. Exercise is like the magic bullet for health. And better sleep is definitely part of that. This research really gets into the science. And basically, yeah, regular exercise can do wonders for sleep, both how well you sleep and how long you sleep. But there's a catch. Timing is super important.
So it's not just about squeezing in a workout whenever we can.
Exactly. The research says don't exercise too close to bedtime.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it seems strange because exercise is good.
Right.
But it actually kind of wakes your body up, raises your temperature, and makes you more alert. And that makes it harder to fall asleep.
It's like telling your body, time to get moving, when what you really want is to wind down.
Exactly. And speaking of winding down, let's talk about where we sleep.
Oh yeah, the sleep sanctuary.
This is where it gets interesting.
I'll admit, I'm guilty of bringing work into the bedroom. Laptop, phone, the whole deal.
I get it. It's so easy to do these days. But this research reminds us, our brains are pretty adaptable. And if we're always on our phones in bed, or stressing about work, our brains start to connect those things with being in bed.
So it's harder to relax and fall asleep.
Exactly. We're basically rewiring our brains, but not in a good way. The bedroom becomes about stress and being alert, instead of rest and relaxation.
So we need to make our bedrooms a tech-free zone.
It's more about creating that separation, making our bedrooms a haven for sleep, a place where our minds and bodies know it's time to unwind. And that actually connects to the next point about routines.
Yeah, the pre-sleep routine.
Exactly.
I like the part about taking time to process the day.
Yeah, giving yourself a worry window can be really helpful. Get all those thoughts and anxieties out before you get into bed.
I also forget things in the morning all the time. And this research says to make a to-do list before leaving work. So simple, but it makes so much sense.
Right. It's about easing that mental load, creating a sense of calm before you even get home.
It's about being intentional. Okay, so we talked about the mental prep. What about the actual physical space? It's not just about a comfy mattress, right?
You got it. This document goes deep on this. It's about all those sensory details. Things like the temperature, lighting, even noise levels. Those all send signals to our bodies telling us it's time to sleep.
It's about working with our body's natural sleep-wake cycle.
Exactly. So things like dimming the lights, keeping your room cool and quiet, those can all make a huge difference. But even with all that, sometimes your mind just won't shut up.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like my thoughts have a life of their own, especially when I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah, that's super common. And this research offers some great ways to quiet those racing thoughts. Things like progressive muscle relaxation or deep breathing exercises. Even visualization can help.
Yeah, it's like hitting the reset button on your mind, giving it a break from all the noise.
Exactly. And the best part is, there's no right or wrong way to do it. The research really emphasizes finding what works for you, whether it's deep breathing, meditation, whatever helps you quiet those thoughts and drift off to sleep.
That's great, because it really is about taking control, right? Not just feeling like insomnia is totally in charge. Now, there was one more thing I wanted to ask about. This research also mentioned cognitive therapy as a way to deal with insomnia. What's that all about?
Oh yeah, cognitive therapy is really interesting. It's all about looking at the thoughts and beliefs that might be causing your sleep problems.
So it's about figuring out what's going on in our heads.
Exactly. Like let's say you have insomnia. You might start thinking you need a perfect 8 hours every single night. Or that if you don't sleep well one night, your whole day is ruined.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Cognitive therapy helps you challenge those thoughts. Are they really true? Are they helpful? It's about reframing those thoughts.
So instead of those thoughts making you anxious, you can see them in a different light.
Exactly.
That's amazing. So we've talked about so much today. From those sneaky sleep disruptors like caffeine to setting up the perfect sleep environment. We even got into relaxation techniques and cognitive therapy. It's like I've unlocked a whole new understanding of how to approach sleep.
I agree. It's been great diving into this with you. And I think what makes this research so valuable is that it looks at the big picture. Sleep is affected by so many things, our habits, our environment, even our thoughts and beliefs.
Absolutely. And the most important thing is that we can actually do something about it. We can take control, make positive changes, and finally get a good night's sleep.
Exactly.
So to everyone listening, think about what resonated with you most today. What's one small change you can make tonight to start improving your sleep? Remember, even little things can make a big difference over time. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into conquering insomnia. We'll see you next time.